Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to BlockStart's second Demo Day event. My name is Nadine Teles, and I am EU Projects Manager at F6S. We are a global community of startup founders, and we are also one of BlockStart's project partners. Today, let me say it's a wonderful afternoon, so thank you all of you who are joining, who have also joined since a couple of minutes ago, so welcome everyone. And we will have the pitch presentation of our top 5 blockchain startups that have gone through our second acceleration program. These have been 6 months of very intense and hard work for our startups to develop their MVPs and test them together with a pool of very innovative SME adopters, willing to adopt blockchain to also help them grow their business. So we can move to the next slide. Thank you so much. But before we start, let me just give you a couple of technical recommendations. So, as you might have noticed, your microphones and your videos are turned off by default. Therefore, I kindly ask you, if you have any question to either our startups or to our 2 keynote speakers, please use the Q&A function instead of the normal Q&A, let's say, instead of the normal chat. We will be using this Q&A function in order for our moderators to select your questions, and either our speakers will answer them live, or they will be answered to you by writing. So to make sure that no question is left behind. Also, I would like to welcome our participants who may be watching us on BlockStart's YouTube. So welcome everyone. We are also live on our BlockStart YouTube channel. And there you have a live chat as well. And we will be keeping our eye on your questions. So feel free to also use the live YouTube chat function to ask all your questions to our speakers and to our keynotes. And we will make sure that they receive your questions, and either they would answer live or we would repost the answers on the live chat. Yes, thank you so much. So, but before we start, I just wanted to, let's break the ice, let's say, with all of you. So we want to get to know you a little bit more. Who are you? Who is our audience today? And what are your expectations for the second BlockStart demo day? So I will be launching 3 pools, very simple ones, so that we get to know you a little bit better. So let me launch the pool, and our speakers can also participate, of course. Okay, so you should be seeing our pool, and we want to know where do you come from, what type of entity you represent. Please feel free to start. So are you from a startup or an SME, a large corporate? Our ecosystem colleagues from an incubator, an accelerator, or from a public entity interested in blockchain related topics and supporting blockchain startups. Have you heard about BlockStart before? So are you familiar with our acceleration program, or is this the first time for you? And finally, we want to know what has been the main interest for you to register and be here with us today participating. So it's about knowing more about our top 5 startups. It's about learning more about how to get VC funding if you are a blockchain startup. So I see that we have a lot of answers already. So I'm closing down the pool, and I would like to share with you the results. So the majority of our audience is from a startup or an SME, but we have some representation from large corporates, incubators or other accelerators, public entities, and also from a general more about blockchain. And then, yes, so it seems that 83% of you already heard about BlockStart, so thank you so much for keeping up with us for the past 2 years. And for those of you who don't, welcome. And I hope that you enjoyed this demo day and you think that we are an interesting program to follow on until the end. And then finally, what is your main interest in this demo day? So not only a single question. So the majority wants to get to know, of course, our top 5 blockchain startups, what they have been doing for the past 6 months, how are things going on with the blockchain solutions and their implementation, but they also want to know more about what we have been doing as a BlockStart project for the past 2 years, and then finally, of course, learn a little bit more about the future challenges in the blockchain ecosystem. So thank you so much. Let me just close the pool. Here it is. Thank you so much. Now, before I give the floor to my colleague, João Fernandes from Bright Pixel, just a short preview of the agenda for today. So we will start with my colleague, João Fernandes from Bright Pixel. Bright Pixel is BlockStart's project coordinator. and he will be doing a sum up of what we have been doing as BlockStart for the past 2 years. So how we have been supporting blockchain startups and blockchain implementation in innovative SMEs. Then we will have the keynote speech from one of our very beloved ecosystem partners. So welcome Carla Puel and David Chreng-Messembourg. They are VC investors from LeadBlock Partners, very much focused on supporting and funding blockchain startups. So they will be speaking a little bit about future challenges and trends and how to get VC funding if you are a blockchain startup. So make sure that you pay close attention to their keynote. And then, of course, the moment we were all waiting for the past couple of months, we will have the pitch presentation of our top 5 startups. So welcome the representatives of Motoblockchain, LoanXchain, Knowtary, IBISA, and ComeTogether, who have been doing extremely intense but very interesting work as they complete their MVPs and implement and test them in innovative end-user SMEs. But don't worry, there is a short break, so we want you to keep with us until the end. We don't want you to get very, very tired. So there is a short break for you to rest a while between pitch presentations. And then in the end, we will have João Fernandes back again for a wrap up and some takeaways for what has been the second acceleration program and what will be the next one, because we still have one to go on. And so now, I would like to not only thank you again for being with us today in this amazing afternoon, but also to welcome João Fernandes from Bright Pixel, our project coordinator. And João, please, you have the floor. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Nadine, for this great intro, and thank to the over 70 people that are already following this session, both on Zoom and some more in YouTube. So today I'll start off by giving a kind of retrospective into the past 2 years of BlockStart, 2 years and 2 acceleration programs that we've managed to deliver. So we are entering the third and last acceleration program. So in a nutshell, BlockStart is an EU-funded blockchain accelerator. So this is an initiative made possible by the support of the European Commission and the funding of the European Commission. So we are intended to, in 2.5 years, to support 60 solution providers, so the startups, blockchain startups, and 60 end-user SMEs, the solution adopters. And so this is not only a blockchain accelerator, but also a partnership program, because we intend to promote the matchmaking of these two profiles, so the solution developers and the potential adopters, to foster the implementation of pilots that could advance blockchain in Europe. We are focusing on retail, fintech, and ICT, and we have up to 800,000 euros to devote for equity-free support to our startups and SMEs. And so, as I've mentioned, 3 acceleration programs since 2019. The last one will take place until early next year. And this is an initiative run by Bright Pixel, early stage VC, the coordinator, and innovation consultancy Civita, and of course startup community F6S. So the main value proposition of this program is not only the equity-free funding up to 20K per startup and 4.5K per SME adopter, but mostly I would say the market validation that it promotes, the demos and tests with potential clients, with SMEs from Europe, and also the growth support, so the mentoring from business and tech experts, both from the consortium members, but also our external pool of experts that ranging from different profiles. Right now we have 21 great investors, innovation managers, CTOs, startup founders that are eager to help out the startups participating in our program, and also the networking events like this one and many other that we've been organizing in the past 2 years, and also matchmaking with investors. So we try to foster the promotion of our startups and put them in position to acquire new potential customers and eventually fundraising. So the whole scheme of this program, all structure, is around a threefold process that starts with an ideation kickoff event. So it's a pitch event where 20 startups pitch their solution and their plans and meet with some SMEs that are interested to get connected with these blockchain innovators. After this event, at the end of this event, we select the top 10 startups that move to the actual acceleration stage, the MVP development and validation of their solutions. And at the end of this 4 months that we call the prototype stage, the pilot stage starts. It's a 2-month period where the top 5 startups implement their pilots, and at the end they pitch at the demo day. So the startups that we will get to know today, the 5 startups, are the finalists from this 6-month acceleration program, the 2nd edition. And so they are currently finalizing this 2 months pilot stage. But so BlockStart is not only about the consortium BrightPixel, CBIT, and F-Success that is running the program and supporting the startups, but we also count on the great help from several ecosystem partners, 25 entities ranging from investors like LeadBlock Partners, tech communities like R3, associations like Startup Lithuania, fellow H2020 projects, so a wide range of great partners of ours, and of course, as I've mentioned, the external mentors, so people that are able to bring capabilities, knowledge, expertise to the program that is put into the benefit of our supported startups. And so up until now, we received quite a nice interest from the startup community, over 300 startup applications, also from SMEs. SMEs in Europe are showing, at least by the interest that they've been manifesting in our program, quite great interest to get to test blockchain solutions across Europe, so over 40 countries these startups and SMEs are coming from. And until now, we've supported 40 startups, 40 out of 60, so we'll support 20 more startups in the next 8 months. And with 34 pilots implemented, blockchain solutions implemented in SMEs up until now, over 150 mentoring sessions, and quite satisfactory 90% NPS score from the participants in our program. And so just to give a broad idea of the first acceleration program finalists, so today we'll talk about the second acceleration program finalists, but it's always great to look back and acknowledge the great progress from the first cohort of startups. We have two both humanitarian supply chains, but beyond that. And they've managed to test their solution in 3 SMEs. Infidia, an invoice financing solution, implementing 5 pilots in the 2-month period of pilot stage. Kidian, last mile delivery solution, also implemented 5 pilots, and Rex.io, a data notarization solution that was implemented in 3 SMEs. So please feel free to check the profiles of all startups, not only these 5, but all 40 in this website, blockstart.eu/our startups. But of course, today we are here mainly to focus on the 2nd acceleration program finalists. We'll present ComeTogether, a ticketing solution with health passport, with 2 pilots to showcase. IBISA, that have implemented 2 pilots with its platform for agricultural insurance. Knowtary, digital document certification, 5 pilots implemented in the past 2 months. LoanXchain, a secondary loan marketplace that was validated by 3 companies. And digital identity for motorcycles, Motoblockchain, that was tested by 4 players. So without further ado, I'd like to call to the stage my colleague Vytautas from Civita. He will be the moderator from now on, both for the keynote speech and the startup pitches. So welcome, Vytautas. So the stage is yours.
Hello, thank you, Joao. Actually, thanks for having me. I will not let you go so quickly. There's a question from Carla, who's asking if the 317 applications that you mentioned, they are from the first 2 calls or also from the current 3rd call too.
Already including the 3rd. So we've been growing. In the first open call, we had 90 applications. On the 2nd, 111, and the 3rd, 116, which makes the 317 applications from blockchain startups.
Great, thank you, Joao.
You're welcome.
Thank you. My name is Vytautas Černiauskas from Civita. Civita, as you have heard, is one of the 3 consortium partners at BlockStart, together with F6S and Brad Pixel. And Civita is the largest management consulting company in Central Eastern Europe, and also is very, very active in the innovation and startup space. So we're working with quite a few startup support programs, including blockchain, including BlockStart, BHub, and BlockIS. And now it is my pleasure to introduce 2 great speakers from our dear partners, LeadBlock Partners, our friends of BlockStart, Carla Puel and David Chreng-Messembourg. They will talk about the future of blockchain in a way, and B2B blockchain in particular. Carla and David, please, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. So my name is David Chreng-Messembourg. Thank you guys, for having me here. It's certainly, a pleasure and always an honor to be part of the demo day with so many of you. So I'm one of the founding partner of LeadBlock Partners, and you've got also here my colleague Carla Puel, who's our VC associate in the fund.
Hello everyone. I'm Carla Puel. I joined LeadBlock Partners 6 months ago as a VC associate, and I'm helping them source great B2B blockchain startups. I'll try to get the presentation up in just a second. Seems like I'm having.
But otherwise, I can say a word about myself at the same time while Carla puts up our brief presentation. So, I mean, prior to launching LeadBlock, I was working in investment banking. I got a scientific background, spent some time working in biophysics research, and then moved to the banking and the investment side. So spend most of my time between industries like healthcare, financial services, and technology. I think Carla just mentioned that she has to reconnect to be able to send the presentation, but I can start the presentation without the slides, and then Carla is going to bring that up. But otherwise, a short words about LeadBlock Partners. So we are a European VC fund that is focusing on B2B blockchain application and digital assets. Here we go. So we're investing, on the B2B side exclusively, and that includes also the B2B to C angle. And our aim is to focus on the digital transformation of our economy. So for us, we have the view that data is everywhere. It has been growing over the past few years, and it's becoming actually critical to process, to secure, and to be in a position to monetize that data in an efficient manner. So to us, blockchain technology is actually a very powerful tool in order to reach that target. But the technology has to be only an enabler. What matters to us is mostly one, the use case, i.e., how the product will impact the underlying industries and how it will benefit the corporates operating. And two, how will the company be in a position to have a strategic positioning in order to constantly leverage a growing amount and volumes of data in order to provide benefits to their end customers. So that's for us, the main element. And we've been investing over the past few years with the fund for the past 12 months, and we've made already four investments, two about to be announced. The first one has been in a food tech company called Connecting Food that is working on food transparency and digital audits. So we led their pre-Series A round. The second one has been also another food tech company, which is called Direct Market. It's a local food distribution marketplace that facilitate the buying and the selling of local products between producers and the food retailers, but also the gross delivery platform. We also led the seed round with them. And over the past 3 months, we've done two later stages investments. One in Bitpanda, which is the Austrian unicorn, providing us access to digital assets, commodities, and fractional stocks. So we entered their Series B round as a strategic investor to support their expansion into the B2B institutional aspect of and part of this world. And the last investment that was announced a week ago was in a company called Tesseract that have built a credit platform to facilitate institutional digital asset lending. Again, we entered as part of their strategic investors, and we're going to be supporting as well their growth in the coming years. One specific aspect about our fund is the in-depth understanding and expertise in the blockchain ecosystem and the bridge that we can create between the traditional world and the the blockchain ecosystem. So we ran through a first report and survey last year where we collected data samples from 200 plus startups. The gathering of data was quite material because we collected almost 10,000 data points in order to to strengthen the the basis of the report. And a couple of stats that have been quite interesting throughout this report is that the early stage blockchain ecosystem is growing at a very fast pace. I mean, if you're looking at the corporate angle, it started to emerge pretty much around the 2017 year. A couple of years after the emergence of the protocols like Ethereum, R3 Corda, and Hyperledger. And what we noticed last year is that around 60% already of those startups that participated in the report were already generating revenues, and around 20% of them were generating over 250K. So that was quite an interesting angle that we wanted to expand further in this specific year. And what we noticed is that the majority of the startups that we surveyed already for the 2021 edition have demonstrated that they were generating over 150,000 of annual revenue, which has been quite interesting to see. And we've also seen that the average fund that has been raised have been also multiplied by a factor of 3. So the average amount of funding that were raised in our 2020 edition was close to 1 million euro on average, and this year it's closer to 3 million, with of course a skew towards the higher angle because we've seen a larger number of Series A and Series B round, as part of our due deal over the past 12 months. The final element I just wanted to touch upon here, and that's something that is quite important as as founders of startups that are leveraging blockchain technology or DLT, is that last year when we surveyed the founders and the management team of those European blockchain startups, is that the vast majority of the investors were not familiar with blockchain technology. In general, the 80% of them were not familiar with what it was, and a big chunk of those investors did not really differentiate between cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. That has a bit evolved, but the reality is that last year, from the startup that we surveyed, there were close to 300 to 400 million of funding need, for the year of 2020, and that number has already increased quite substantially, because if you're looking at the initial sample that we've assessed last month, the capital needs for the next 18 months from our survey startup is close to 1 billion. So that also translates, a higher degree of maturity. We started that are raising a bit more, but also an increasing number of startups that are moving into product adoption mode. But the main elements, I guess, that we are focusing on, and I guess BlockStart is also addressing as part of the program is on the funding gap. So what we've noticed is that there's a significant amount of capital that is missing, i.e., that we have limited capital availability at European blockchain venture capital funds in general. If you're just looking at the latest fund that A16Z has raised, which has been above 2 billion, that is that is significantly higher than a large number of generalist venture capital funds in Europe, and materially above what we've seen for blockchain focused fund. The second element is that even among the generalist VC fund, there's still a limited willingness of those investors to invest into blockchain startup in Europe, and that's also driven by the need to get more comfort around the technology, but that is also evolving relatively fast. And the last one is also related to the fact that knowledge still needs to be to go mainstream with regards to the tech and the applicability of the technology. And actually, an interesting piece that correlate to our findings last year has been the latest European Investment Bank report, highlighting a funding gap of around 1 to 2 billion in euros. So the conclusion here is mainly to say that there's a significant need for capital into the space, and that's what our fund is also working to address by investing and educating the investor base. Yeah, and I think like from here I can leave it to Carla, who has been screening and talking to a few hundreds of startups over the past month or so. So she just go through through our selection process. What are the key elements that we look for and at in the early days of our evaluation process, and also some of the best practices and elements that either were red flags to her and to us as a fund, but also that were convincing enough to push the startup towards our selection process.
Thank you, David. So as I was mentioning, I'm going to talk now about the fundraising best practices. And we thought it could be interesting to share with you our selection process in order to give you a brief overview of what are the key elements driving our decision at each step, so you could adapt your speech in accordance. So we have a 5-step selection process, starting with the sourcing and screening of startups. Our pipeline of deal is fueled from several sources. Could it be entrepreneurs, angel investors, incubators, or corporate partners? And once we have identified the startups, we usually ask them to fill out our questionnaire, and anyone from the team can review the available material. So the pitch, the website, questionnaires, answers. And this is just to ensure the startup fits with our core investment strategy. And if they do, the same team member will go ahead with a first call in order to clarify unanswered questions from the reviewed materials and to gather key data points on elements such as client traction, market opportunity, just to get a holistic view on this investment case. The information and data gathered are then summarized and discussed during our weekly meeting with the entire team. And following this meeting, the top startups are chosen to move to the next step of our investment process, that is the in-depth due diligence. And this step includes further analysis of the business, as well as financial, operational, and legal verification. We will also carry out various scenario analysis in order to better assess, forecast, and the feasibility of the business plan. We usually include our network and industry partners to help us on this and to give us their expert opinion. We can also interview clients, but here the focus is really to verify the product market fit. And finally, our investment committee. So this is where we all get together to discuss an investment case, and basically one has to present its investment case, and he or she will be challenged by the board on many aspects. And he or she should be able to convince everyone of this investment potential. And if that's successful, we will then submit our LOE that could still be subject to some terms, of course. And so, as I mentioned, one crucial step in our selection process is actually that first call with a startup. And today I wanted to highlight with you what I like to touch upon during this call. So that will be first looking at the funding team. So what have they done before? Do they have experience in the sector? And for example, I will be much more confident in going forward with an industry veteran that has identified an issue and has been trying to solve it with blockchain, rather than going with a blockchain enthusiast who's been trying to find a blockchain use case for years. Then looking at the market needs and the ideation process. So linked to what I just said, what was the original problem? What is the target market? And is it big enough? Then the solution. So how does it solve the identified problem? How does it work? And how is it different from what already exists in the market? Has a solution been developed, or is it still a prototype? How do they implement the solution? Then we have the business part. So understanding the business model, do they generate recurring revenues? Have they had enough traction? Regarding the sales cycles, is it short? Is it long? Does it need intermediaries to reach out to clients? How intense is the competition here? And finally, we have financing. And I'll be asking about past funding. What are the terms of the round? What will be the use of fund? Is there any commitment yet? What is the timeline? Just to see if we can answer those needs. And actually, I haven't included it here, but we really aim to be active investors. So all along, we'll also be trying to evaluate potential synergies, wondering what we can bring to you. Are we well connected in the industry? Can we make introduction? Just basically to assess our own value add as a fund. And as a summary of all of this, I wanted to reflect on what aspects will make me more comfortable to present to startups during, let's say, our investment review. And that will be having industry veterans in the founding team. That will be using blockchain to solve inefficiencies in the industry, meaning that this could not have been done without blockchain. A proven product market fit through having both good client traction and recurring revenues, and tackling a market that is big enough, even if the company does not hold 100% market share. And finally, we have been keen on companies that aim to have an impact. So we've been looking at companies helping transition to renewable energy, or companies tackling the carbon credits industry. And so even if a startup does not hold all the above, we like to create a relationship early on, and we like to keep in touch and follow their progress as we might invest in the company at a later stage. So to conclude, if you feel you fit our investment thesis, or you want to start building a relationship with us, or that maybe you want to be part of our next Enterprise Blockchain edition, do not hesitate to reach out to me or to David, and we'll be pleased to discuss some more.
Thank you, Carla and David. We have actually quite a few questions from the audience. The first question was about if where people can find the industry report. So João already pointed to a link.
Vit, I think we're having trouble to hear you right now.
Website, yes. And can you also detail when
we haven't heard you in the past 30 seconds, so can you rephrase, please?
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you specify when the next industry report will come out from LeadBlock Partners? And the current report can be found on the website, right?
Sure. Well, everyone can find our 2020 report on our website. We actually launched the survey, and I think we actually published it on our website as well, on our LinkedIn page. So anyone who wants to participate can fill out the survey and be part of the next edition. And we are working on it, but I think as the next edition will be out early after the summer.
Thank you. A couple of questions from Pedro. He's asking for people who do not have experience in blockchain, but have experience in B2B marketing for startups, but want to enter the market of decentralized finance, crypto, etc. Where should they start, from your opinion?
I mean, the thing, it pretty much depends on, you know, the end product that you're looking at building or developing. But overall, I'd say that the fundamentals that needs to be that you need to educate yourself on are initially, you know, with regards to the layer one infrastructure, i.e. the protocol on which the decentralized finance is being run. Right now, I'd say that the vast majority of the DeFi ecosystem are built around the Ethereum network. So, you know, understanding, you know, that ground layer, understanding also, you know, the how you can interact with that base layer, and start to bake in some you know, some of the variable that need to be considered. For instance, gas fees, which are the cost of you know, of running a transaction on the Ethereum network, would be I think a good start. But then again, you know, as Carla, you know, was pointing out, it's at the end of the day, what matters is not starting with the technology and then deriving a product, but more, you know, experiencing you know, a challenge or marketing efficiency, and then thinking about what kind of product you would love to see in the market, if it, you know, if it's not already there, or what kind of updated version of an existing product you'd like to see in order to meet some of your need, and then design the product and find the technology on the back of that. I think it like, to us at the fund, is a more powerful approach to you know, to building a successful startup.
Great insights. Thanks a lot, David. A couple of more questions. Giles is asking of where they can submit their blockchain-based project, how they can reach out for the initial phase of the process that you laid out.
I think you can reach out directly to me on LinkedIn, or if you go on our website, you'll find the link to the Google form I've been talking about, where you can put details on your blockchain project and upload your deck. And as I mentioned, we'll review it quickly.
Thank you. And the next question is it well, I assume that LeadBlock Partners, they invest in different stages. It's for earlier stage, but also for mature projects. We saw you have a Series B investment in your portfolio as well. Can you elaborate on stages and the maturity of the projects as well that you are interested in investing?
Yeah, I mean, we mostly invest in early growth. I would say, i.e., you know, like Series A would probably be, you know, our sweet spot. But overall, you know, like the seed round is also like a stage at which we spend quite some time on.
Do we have connection problems on David's side as well?
Oh, I think he had an issue with his computer, but he'll be back on in a few minutes. But yeah, as it was mentioning, we're actually targeting from seed up to Series B round, and yes, I guess that's it.
Okay, another related question related to series and investment sizes. What is your typical ticket? And also, do you usually prefer to be a lead investor in a round, or prefer someone else to lead it?
So we're very flexible regarding to this. We have ticket size that can go from 150K euros up to a few millions. And we can lead, we can follow. That really depends on the opportunity here.
Okay, I guess we're out of open questions. If somebody still has a question, you have a couple of minutes to use your chance. Otherwise, we will thank David and Carla for an amazing presentation and also for very good answers to our questions.
Well, if we do not have any question, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here. And yeah, as I was saying, do not hesitate to reach out if you want to connect and talk to us about your blockchain project.
There's one last minute question. Not fully sure I understand it. What is your time expected invested, years target, for example?
Sorry?
For how long, maybe?
Oh, we have a investment horizon.
Not
Hello?
Not really sure what the people. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, Carla, you're talking about the investment horizon.
Yes, well, if we're talking of our investment horizon, I guess it's in our mandate that we'll be holding our position for up to 8 years. And I guess that's the longer we can go for at least our first fund, as we definitely hope to be raising a second one in the next month.
Thank you. And yet one more question. Do you have any preference for industries? I believe this is like in the B2B sector, some preferred sectors. We saw a lot of food in your portfolio, but do you have any preferences, or are you industry agnostic or vertical agnostic?
No, we definitely industry agnostic. I guess there was a lot of food at first because it's maybe one of the first use case we can think when we think of blockchain. But we're definitely keen on learning from new sectors, and that won't scare us away if we don't have, experience in one. As I mentioned, we'll be reaching out to industry experts to help us on our due diligence. And so, yeah, we're definitely looking cross sectors, cross industries. We just need the B2B and blockchain components to be there.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Carla and David. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being there. And sorry, David could not be here, but yes, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving back to, sorry. Yeah, we're moving back to our presentation, and actually the part that I hope every one of you was waiting for eagerly, our pitches of the 5 finalists in the BlockStart project. And we will start with the Motoblockchain and the LoanXchain. So Motoblockchain, please, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can hear you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Let me share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
You see the presentation? Perfect. So I thank you, first of all, Joao, Nadine, all the team behind BlockStart to give to us this opportunity. I saw a lot of programs, but this is the only program where we are forced to test our prototype. So it was really, really an interesting possibility for us. So I'm Simone Brigina, and I'm here to present you Motoblockchain, the digital identity of your motorcycle. How many of you did you ever try to buy a used motorcycle or a used car? And how many of you did you ever felt trust during the process? I cannot see you and your hand, but I can tell you that very few people is able to feel trust during the process. This is a problem that is very important, very dangerous in the motorcycle sector, because there is always a mistrust between seller and buyer. This, the effect of having mistrust leads to a low value of the motorcycles when they are sold. Most of all, if they are in good condition, they have a low value, like the motorcycle not in good condition, and this leads to a low value modification and accessories. So what we do in Motoblockchain is to provide the digital identity of the motorcycle. We provide an historical database that a user can fill with different information. We provide a blockchain architecture to give timestamp to the information and guarantee that it's not tampered. And so now when there is a buyer, the buyer can access the historical database. He knows that there is blockchain behind, so the buyer is willing to pay the right size price for the motorcycle, as well as the right price for accessory and modifications. So this is the product, the application that we developed with another program, Blockpool. This is the first entry point of information for the digital identity, but thanks to BlockStart, we worked on the second product. This is the MOD, the Motorcycle Onboard Diagnostic Connected System. This is an IoT system designed to provide several functionalities, but during the BlockStart program, we were focused on these main three functionalities: GPS alarm, motorcycle autonomous digital identity creation. So we read information for the motorcycle and the motorcycle autonomously send it to the digital identity and it goes to the blockchain, and the failure detection for the mechanics. We have a very huge market. This data is not updated, it's from 2016, but this is sufficient. We have a lot of registered motorcycle, that every motorcycle is a customer for us, and we are also receiving a fee on the ownership transfer. So you can see that there is very, very huge market for us. We work with every customer, business to customer, everyone with a motorcycle, but also with every company related with the motorcycle: mechanic, service provider, manufacturers, assurance company, motorcycle renting company. And this product, the MOD, is focusing most B2C and B2B. There is no selection, because we can work with everyone with motorcycles. This is our team. I'm Simone Brighina. I'm the CEO and co-founder, with Manuela Del Romano, that is Chief Marketing Officer and co-founder. Carlos Callejo is taking care of our blockchain architecture, while Diego Markic is the focus developer for this project, because he's taking care of the IoT solution, and Alessandro Buzzi taking care of the cloud part. What we did during the pilot stage, for us, it was a development and test stage. Now I'm going to tell you why. Because in the prototype stage, we developed the MOD V1, the one that you see on the left. It was too big to be mounted on the motorcycle. So we decided to use the 3 months to develop a new prototype during the pilot stage. As you can see, it's smaller and it can better fit on the motorcycle. Also, it includes new hardware, new firmware, new external box, and we were able in 3 months to build 4 prototypes, as you can see in this photo. The box is done with 3D printers, so it's a little bit bigger than it should be. After having done this, we were able to do the testing. This is a MOD mounted on a BMW GS. These are the 4 early adopters. I want really to thank them to work with us. The mechanics have very few times for other projects. They are not focus on developing product, they only sell products. So they really helped us putting the time, and thanks also for BlockStart to give the money to them. Como is a mechanic from Rome, focused on BMW products. BMS Racetech is focused on circuit motorcycle, is specific working with BMW. And IMX Motors focus on cross and scooter motorcycle, while Slick Shampoo is focused on scooter motorcycles. But everyone work with all type of motorcycles. So the test plan was shortened in 2 weeks. The idea was to deliver in the 1st of June the prototype and to be tested on 1 motorcycle, optionally a 2nd motorcycle with a user. We did 4 tests for the failure detection, for the alarm, for the GPS route tracking, and the data recording. This data goes to blockchain. The first step for them was to assembly. This is because we are in a beta test. This is a prototype. This is not going to happen in the real life, but they had to assemble the battery and take note about the email, close the box, and later they were able to pass to the mounting part. As you can see, Como used a BMW 1200 GS, Anaya and Honda SH, BMW S1000RR for BMS race tech. They also tested on another BMW, and a Suzuki Burman from LoanXchain. Step 2 was to go with the physical mounting phase. This is the Anaya MX motor. As you can see in the red quadrant, it's not so visible, but here there is the mod, and in the orange quadrant, there is the GPS antenna. In the Suzuki Burman, you cannot see it mounted because it's covered by the white part, but in the small photo, you can see where it was mounted. The same happened with Como, with the BMW. The mod was mounted outside the motorcycle as well as the GPS antenna, and BMS Racetech was able to mount it below the seat, so it was invisible, and the GPS antenna in a visible place. So this was the final image of our prototype mounted of the two motorcycles. The third step was to configure it. First, we need to configure an iBeacon. The iBeacon is a Bluetooth signal. We didn't have the tool, so we had to force the mechanics to use an application to activate and deactivate the alarm. The step 4 was to configure the Wi-Fi access, to access the mob directly, to insert the telephone number to receive the messages, the VIN number, and other data. The 5th step was to do the testing. The failure detection and the alarm need a failure simulation for the mechanics, while the GPS tracking and the data recording require always only to use the motorcycle. And we record the data, and the data goes to blockchain. The test results, as you can see, with Como and Anaya MX Moto, we were able to complete the configuration phase, while with BMS Rating and LoanXchain, we have problem with pairing the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. So they were not able to receive the SMS with a warning, but actually the mob was working, it was recording data, it was sending data. Yes, we had some point where it was not working, but the test was really useful to see what was working and what was not. We have traffic reports, so we was able to see that there was traffic, but as we want a very low traffic. And we receive very important feedback. The external box design that must be smaller, the button and connector that we need to add, hardware and firmware improvement due to the problem of the connection, the pairing system improvement, and the requirement for the application, because at this time there was no application developed from us. The roadmap, we want to apply some modification in a mob v2 and do some internal testing, and to complete the application design with all the feedback received. Later, we need to search for funding for the development of the mob v3 and the development of the mob v app that is almost defined. We are going to repeat the test of the v3 version and our proprietary app. The idea is to be in the market in 2022, probably the first or the second quarter. Good news, the 4 early adopters, the brave early adopters, still waiting to test the new version. They like the product. Also, if we have some problem, they confirm to us that they are going to test the new prototype. So we can go on with this interesting testing phase thanks to BlockStart. And now, are you interested? Did you saw something interesting? If you are a customer, if you are a motorcycle owner who invests money and time in taking care of your motorcycle, please contact us, or better, register at our blog site www.motoblockchain.es. If you are an early adopter, a B2C, if you are a mechanic, assurance company, motorcycle renting company, motorcycle service provider, if you are a manufacturer, if you work with motorcycle, please contact us so you can be in our early adopter program like the other 4 mechanics did with us. And last but not least, we are also going to launch an investment round probably at the end of 2021. So if you want to be up to date, please contact us and we will let you know when we are going to open the round. If you want more info, we have a very great feature in the BlockStart website and also in Blockpool website. So I would like to thank you everyone to listen to the presentation and to thank BlockStart for this great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you for the very interesting presentation. I congratulate you on a successful pilot phase, particularly difficult during the pandemic, talking to actual shops and finding the adopters to use your product. Since it's a physical product and the interaction is limited by all the limitations in place. We have a couple of questions from the audience. So the first question is about some example of data that you have collected, and also is it directly taken from the motorcycle, or the data can also be added in a secure, certified manner by a user or some other authorized party?
So as you saw in the presentation, the user is able to add data, but mostly he add data using our application. He's able to add photos, for example, photos of a new exhaust, photo of the invoice of the exhaust, photo of the mechanic mounting the exhaust. So this is what the user does manually. One of our advice is once a month, do a complete photo check of the motorcycle, the check of the kilometers, the check on the right part, the left part. So you are going to really create a digital identity that is growing in the time. What we did with the mob was to give more value to this information, because the mob is able to, once that you mount it on the motorcycle and you configure it, you need to choose what you want to read from the motorcycle and what you want to send to Motoblockchain server. Once that this process is ended, the user cannot cancel the data. So the data goes to the digital identity in the blockchain. So this is an automatic process. Regarding the type of data, we have accelerometer, we have gyroscope, we have GPS. So we are able to read the maximum speed, the G-force in the acceleration, in the curves, the tilting angle, the angle of in the curves. We are able to detect the failures, for example. So we are able to create an history of the failure of the motorcycle and save this history in the digital identity. So probably you are going to trust more a motorcycle with a couple of failures that were solved than a motorcycle without any history. So you don't know what failure a motorcycle could have.
Thank you. A couple of more questions, a bit technical ones. What blockchain do you use for Motoblockchain, and how do you handle the transaction fees?
Transactions fees is a really important question, because our idea was to use Ethereum. Actually, we started developing our smart contract with Solidity, but we ended up with the fee problem, the gas fee problem. So we decided to maintain our architecture, the same smart contract working on Ethereum virtual machine, and we moved to Matic, that is now Polygon blockchain. Polygon is a layer 2 on top of Ethereum network. The fees are really low, and we can use the same architecture, the same technology. So the day that we want to be back to Ethereum, we are able to do it. And there is a huge advantage, because I receive a lot of call from private blockchain, but I think that an information like the ones that we are provided, that remain in our server, but is backed with an hash, must be in a public blockchain. I don't want to work in a private blockchain. So what we did was to search a blockchain that was public, working with Ethereum virtual machine, with great decentralization and low fees. This is the reason why we ended up with Polygon.
Thank you. And how do you sustain economically the IoT physical device? Who is paying for it? What is the economics? How does the business model work?
The business model, at this time, we are only working on prototypes, and we are paid from European Commission, thanks to BlockStart, and the application with Blockpool. At the end of the year, we are going to open an investment round, but we have an interesting business model, because the mob can be bought by anyone with a motorcycle. Also, your mother can give you the mob, because we have other security features that you didn't saw there, because they are not part of this development. Everyone can buy and can give the mob. as a single user, but also your mechanic can advise you. Also, we can sell the mob in Amazon because we have the GPS alarm. So imagine how many people is going to search for a GPS alarm and they discover they can have digital identity, they can have remote failure detection, they can have additional security features, and the price is going not to be really different from some tools that you can buy there that can offer only one of our features. So this is one thing. The other thing is going with assurance. Imagine the value for the assurance to receive all this information. And the third level is manufacturer. Imagine the manufacturers, what they can learn from the data that we can receive from the application and from the mob at the same time. So our go-to-market will be with customer, B2C, but as soon as we start having a number of sufficient customers, we are going to go for the B2B with assurance company manufacturers.
On this B2B versus B2C angle, you also mentioned it in your presentation. The question is, how do you work with the motorcycle vendors or maybe even manufacturers? What is your plan in this area?
My plan is first to have application and mob working. Second, to have a huge adoption between end customer, B2C. Thirdly, to pair, I already spoke with AWL. I don't know, it's a big automotive company. They have a program to partner with startup. This could be, for example, an option to go together with a very huge company, no company in the automotive sector, go together with them to the big manufacturers. So this could be one way that we are experiencing. We are trying to take, because the partnership, it's really important, and we think that we need to be ready with the product and with someone helping us to reach this type of customers. But this will be the last step that we need to do.
One more question. Have you thought about using the Helium blockchain to track the motorcycle position, for example, in security location in case of a theft?
No, we didn't think about it. Our GPS alarm remain mainly a standard GPS alarm. We work with the GPS. What we do is to have special care to the battery, so that GPS also without a battery can use the internal battery. But we didn't think about using Helium. I'm going to take note about it and I'm going to study it. Maybe we can have some more innovative advantage. I thank you, this user, for this question.
A lot of questions, a lot of very good questions. One more. How do you stimulate or reward the initial this mass adoption, and what kind of which marketing channels are you going to use to promote it?
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yes, try without the video because it was slow audio.
How do you stimulate or, sorry about that.
Yes, now it works.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
How do you stimulate or reward the initial mass adoption, and which marketing channels are you planning to use to boost this adoption and spread the word?
Yes, the first things that we do is to provide a first blockchain certificate for free. So everyone will be able to register his own motorcycle, upload the photos of the frame number, of the documentation of the motorcycle, of the kilometers, and to use our architecture to create a digital identity. No? We create a motorcycle ID, we create a user ID, we assign the motorcycle to the user, we have a specific architecture that is working in the blockchain. So this is free. So this is going to be really, really interesting for the people to see how simple it is to go to blockchain with our application. Once that you do that, you can stay in the free plan. You can have a certificate for a price between, the price is not defined, but you can buy a single certificate, or maybe once a year, or if you want, you can buy a premium plan and you can say, okay, I want to save every month the photo of the motorcycle. I want every month to upload something about the motorcycle. So in this case, we are going for a premium system. And on top of that, there is the mob. The mob is the next step, no, to give more value to digital identity.
Great. Thank you, Simone. Right on time. Yes, we still have some questions, but I hope you can answer them in a text because it's now time for LoanXchain to take the stage. Simone, Motoblockchain, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Everyone,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
LoanXchain. Yes, we can hear you.
Amazing, perfect. So let me just share my screen, and so we can start.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Amazing.
Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm Matteo Alessandra, co-founder of LoanXchain. I'm here to introduce you our solution, what we've done at the pilot stage, and show you a quick demo of our platform. So to start, the first thing very important for us is to go and talk about at least a couple of seconds about our vision. Our vision is that the future of the loan market must be cooperative, with investors pouring resources in lenders, and lenders lending those resources to families and corporates. This generates growth, and this growth generates returns for lenders and investors. This kind of cooperation that makes the lending market more open for real is the things that can solve all the issues that we saw in the lending market in the last at least 5 years. And those issues are very, very well known. For the lender side, there are capital and liquidity constraints biting, and so you have hundreds of billions of loans lacking to the real economy. For the investor, you have very limited investable asset classes with a decent return. So you have a lot of resources being there waiting to get to the real economy, but not finding channels to do so. For the regulators, you have a very strong issue with credit crunches, and somehow a support for new lending model that can really foster the economy and the growth, especially now after the pandemic, that we do need to go back to an even stronger growth footing. So to solve all these issues and empower the vision that I described, we created LoanXchain. LoanXchain is a digital multilateral secondary loan marketplace. So it's a platform that connects lenders and institutional investors, so B2B level regulated entities, providing a new channel to digitally purchase or sell loans. The way it allows this kind of cooperation I was referring to in a business as usual fashion that can happen involving different type of actors of any size and no longer just the very big, very complex players you can see somehow operating in this kind of market. At the same time, a platform like ours brings many additional advantages. It brings liquidity, transparency, speed, and it opens the market. And finally, since we are a tech company, we operate as a platform. So we also connect through APIs new value-added services developed by other fintechs. So we really try to empower an ecosystem that can generate better results for all the parties involved, and at the end for the society in general. The platform we created is a Corda-based platform, B2B web-based. It's easy to access, it's easy to integrate. It has an architecture created to make it easy to join and participate in the community, even if you don't want to have a full node in your institution, as requested by many potential market participants. And it brings many advantages compared to traditional solution. As said, it brings transparency. We use EU-wide standard. It brings liquidity because it connects all the players in one place. It opens the platform to newcomers, to new players, to digital lenders, to smaller funds, and so on and so forth. But it also makes the transaction way faster. We're talking about months-long transaction at present. Our goal would be just to shorten them to like a few weeks. That would be already amazing. We're not talking about 0 seconds as in other asset classes. The costs, we're talking about some percentage point, but thanks to our platform, you can cut intermediaries, you can digitize the workflow, and so also that it goes down to some basis points, basically. And finally, said, for us, it's core to bring new value-added services because the future of the loan market is digital and we want to empower this transition through our platform. Target market is huge, as you may imagine. We're talking about hundreds of billions of loans exchanged in Italy, and even more, obviously, at the EU level, generated many millions and billions of fees. We obviously know part of the market is made of huge transactions, not easy to digitize, but we want to target the smaller side and also open to the new market possible there. We also have quite of an initial relevant traction with players that have interest to join the platform or interest to be informed as soon as there are certain type of assets on the platform. So, we are getting, although the complexity of the partners and the potential customer we're talking with, we are getting quite a lot of interest from the different parties we connected with. In terms of competition, we're obviously not the only one, but at least in our core market, we are quite strong. And also at the EU level, there are just one or two other players moving around. By the way, we are also the only one already leveraging the distributed ledger technology. And we do see the financial ecosystem transition there. So we do see that as the perfect choice to be from day one with your backbone there already capable of leverage any upside coming from the side. We are the only one having a value-added service ecosystem. So, we have quite a few differentiation of our product besides the geography where we are as well differentiating. In terms of pricing scheme, we have already defined it and shared with the initial customers. So it's something we have already quite validated. There's a setup fee, an access fee, and a transaction fee. So the setup fee is to cover the cost of integrating. The access fee is the recurring revenue you want to have and you want to pay as a customer to be connected to the market, getting the data, getting the liquidity, getting the possibility to join it. The transaction fee is kind of a success fee that you pay in case you really succeed in transacting a certain type of loans on the platform. In terms of roadmap, we're starting from Italy with certain type of loans in our mind, where we've already developed the platform fully and where it is basically operational. Then the scope is to extend here in the core market. It's still kind of a fragmented market, not fully harmonized. That's why we are using this country-focused approach, and then in future looking at other countries, potentially leveraging partners that we will get more and more over during our journeys. They may have also a presence in other countries. In terms of financial projection, we are launching this year. We have a goal of having some of the customers that basically confirm interest, converting them in paying customer for real during the second part of this year, and start having some transaction, and then slowly scaling over time, bringing more and more players on board. This is quite conservative, and as said, is only focused on the Italian market. So we didn't model any other potential expansion in other countries that could be seen as a potential upside. We're working on around to pay for the initial launch, and then we will be followed by, it'll be followed by success, a subsequent round to support the scale up. So at present, our scope is just to prove to put in fully production the platform and prove the initial market fit. And we will use it to strengthen the sales side of the company, because the sales cycle, as in any B2B financial institution focused company, is quite tough, and at the same time develop new loan types based on the hints we have already received basically from potential customer about what they would like to have on platform. To conclude, this is the team, so you can see also all the other people that joined and supported all this project long. We put together an interesting team with both junior professional and experienced people, so you can have both of the best of the two sides, strong execution capability, but still the kind of genuine and new approach to innovation that you really want to have, and also a different way of approaching how to launch a startup and so on and so forth. The team is very, very strong when it comes to credit and technology, with a lot of experience in launching enterprise level solutions. So not just coding, but also providing the service to institutions that have a lot of requirements to fulfill. And at the same time, there are in the team two already successful entrepreneurs. So that's also a proof that we also know how to launch companies. And finally, those are our development partners that support in the development journey. Some of them will try to convert in customers soon. Others say they're interested, but due to that they are working on it. Obviously, the biggest company, the most complex, the conversion to be a customer it is. But we have they really supported us both in terms of strategic and tactical positioning, and in terms of defining the features needed in the platform. So this was a quick overview of the platform, but I also want to share with you a couple of words on what we've done at the pilot stage and show you quickly our demo. So regarding BlockStart, pre-pilot, we focus on market validation. So our scope was to test market interest, leveraging the BlockStart community, and also external players, not in the BlockStart community, but potentially also, kind of being supported by BlockStart in doing so. And we reached quite a good result, because we found 3 companies, SMEs adopter in BlockStart that joined at the pilot stage, and strong interest by external companies we we interacted with during this period of time, and with which we are still discussing about putting in place a strong commercial partnership, because most of them, as you may see in the table, are companies operating in the financial sector with a lot of customer already, a lot of solution already operating in the system of the customer. So, you know, they see our solution as an add-on to improve new functionalities, to provide additional services, and so on and so forth. But then we move to the pilot phase. So we define a pilot phase with the scope of really testing the solution with potential user to verify how the solution is adherent to the market desiderata, the performance, but also, you know, identifying areas of improvement. And the perimeter for us was to have real financial institutions participating, real loan data, and a fully digital workflow. So although it's a test, we wanted to have, you know, to have it as real as possible, as you can have in a test like this. The three SME adopters were actually great in the scope, because they brought some of their own partners or customers to join the pilot phase. So we really had financial institutions and institutional investors participating, see the platform, clicking around the buttons to execute the transaction. So it was real something interesting. And also we had the chance to work a lot on the integration of those players and the onboarding of platform. So not just seeing the platform as a standalone component, but really try to bring them inside as much as possible in the system of the counterparty. The pilot went great, actually. It was very successful. We validated the market needs. We saw the integration could be actually done faster than expected. And also, you know, the financial institution involved expressed interest in somehow, you know, interact, discuss more about how they could become customer for the initial launch of the company. At the same time, we identified as a pain point the complexity of the solution, although we thought experienced user, at least on the subject we're working with, could find it easier. And so we are working quite a lot on improving a couple of things in the UX that actually we identified as something that was easy for us, but not for the end user, because too much used to working with very old legacy systems. So, you know, this kind of jump in the UX and the technology level was a bit too much for them. And finally, since I don't know how much time I still have, so I jump into the demo very fast, and then you will have time for all the questions you would like to ask. This is the dashboard, the initial things you see if you open our demo. I simply did the login process before starting this demo. So this is the dashboard. You have shortcut and other charts that you can also change over time based on your data to quickly have an overview of what you want to do with the platform. On top, you have the institution ID card, the account, the user account to manage different user profiling. In the institution, you have the ID card that for us is very core, because it provides the information about what the institution does, and especially, that is more relevant, how it does it when it comes to the loan origination, monitoring, and servicing process. So it's, you know, I know I'm going into a bit of details of how it works, but, you know, from here as a user, you can easily identify what you want to know about the originators of these loans, or potentially the buyers. And also over time, we expect to add platform activity metrics. So you have the view of the balance sheet based on financial statements, but also the view of based on platform activities. You can compare them and get a quite decent level of transparency. Going back to the dashboard, we can move to the left-hand side to the major functionalities. So you have the marketplace, where you have buyers and seller matching, and so transacting. The warehouse, where you have your own loans portfolio, could be bought, it could be uploaded, and you can manage it and reach it with additional value-added services and put it on sales. And then you have the major things you can do. So this is about the operation you can do. You can track and see how they evolve, and also have a store, the history of all the activities you have done, so you can easily create a report for internal reporting mainly. Starting at the warehouse, so you can have your loans. You have a filter engine, very powerful, based on hundreds of data fields on top. And then at the bottom of the loans, already uploaded in this case, with some information already exposed, but also actually the loan level granular details. Our platform is all working at the single loan level. You can use the filter to identify a sub pool you want to sell, for instance, and launch a sale auction. So if I go to launch an auction, I have an automated form that makes it easier for me to launch the auction, selecting all the relevant information needed, like the visibility, if it's a public auction or a private one with just certain institutions involved, the timing of the auction, how long does it last, is it expected to terminate early if I want, and so on and so forth. You have to set the pricing, you have to define the transfer methodology. I said a bit of technical stuff for not experience of this kind of market, but basically the important thing is that it makes automatic, easy for you as a seller, define an auction, put those loans on sale, and also inform all the market participants easily about the rules of the auction. So it makes very fast understanding what's going on, and it allows our platform to then automatically manage all the rules. So quite much easier compared to doing it manually as it is being done today. On the other way around, what you can do is to go on the marketplace and look for open auction. You have a filter for the different.
I'm sorry,
auction.
Mattia. Could you please wrap up? We still want to leave some time for questions.
Okay. Sorry, I said I don't have a timer somewhere, so it is quite easier. So just to conclude, on the marketplace side, you can find instead auction, so you can see what's in it, and then again at the loan level, like then put offer. There are plenty of other functionalities, as I imagine. This is just a very quick overview, but please do ask anything you want to ask, and if you're interested in becoming either a partner to sell the solution even abroad, not just in Italy, or a potential user, I'm here to discuss with you. Super open to receive your express of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mattia, for the interesting presentation. Really nice ambition level. You're disrupting a really big chunk of industry.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you properly. Don't know if it's my internet.
There are a couple of questions of the question, although I don't agree with the question is, I will read it verbatim. Do I understand correctly that your solution makes VC companies like LeadBlock Partners obsolete?
VC company? Sorry, I haven't heard the second part of the question.
Does it make VC companies, will basically the VC companies extinct or go out of business because of the platform like yours?
So I answered directly. Actually, we are focused on the loan market. So for us, VC could be either companies financing our solution, could be somehow a potential user in case the venture debt side of the market grows and so on and so forth. So somehow that part could be something that may be seen on the platform as well, maybe tailoring to the specific need of that specific type of market. But then actually for us, the core is the loan market of lenders already working in the market and institutional investors, mainly private debt funds, other banks, insurance companies. So that's the kind of interaction we try to fulfill and improve. And it's for everything. Actually, the pilot was on consumer loans. And also the demo actually was on customer loans, consumer loans. So, it's not even SMEs loans or startup loans or corporate loans somehow.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you. What kind of financial regulation do you need to comply? Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I heard it. It's obviously it's a very relevant question. I didn't have time to touch it. We focus on that part from the very beginning of our journey, thanks to a very relevant legal firm here in Italy, Studio Pedersoli Law Firm. We work with them. We also discussed with the Bank of Italy. We had a formal reply to some of our questions from the Bank of Italy. The interesting thing is that loans are not under MiFID II at present, and actually are not going to be put under MiFID II anytime soon. And so as a result, as long as you don't do a couple of things that may put you under the MiFID II regulation, that could be either working with retails directly, something we don't plan to do, managing payments that may put you not under MiFID II, but under payments directives and so on and so forth. or creating some kind of automation that may become similar to organized trading facility, stock exchange, these kind of things, you're basically under the scope of any type of regulation, at least at the EU level. The loan regulation then is very much at a country level at present, and in Italy, for our interaction, we don't have to fulfill any specific regulation, because since we work with institutional players, they already do the anti-money laundering, KYC, and all these kind of things. So basically, the GDPR regulation is something that actually we do take care of when we have loan data transacting and so on and so forth. But we are not required to get any specific license. Similarly, in other countries in the EU, actually, then there may be some. You may want to check it specifically in any country, but basically, that's the kind of regulation environment we're facing.
Okay, we have just 1 minute.
Now I'm not hearing you properly, actually, I have to say. Maybe it's my fault, I cannot understand.
Why haven't you used the public solution? Sorry. Why haven't you used the public blockchain? For example, Stellar, which is great for financial solutions.
Yeah, basically, when we started, we wanted to find something that was very much aligned to the needs of the customer, that are financial institutions. At the time, we looked quite a lot at IBM and R3, because it was still a moment where the private concept was very much of interest for financial institutions, way more than now. I have to say, my perception at least. But actually, it has been quite of a good choice, because Corda seemed to us very much aligned with our scope. It evolved in a sense that actually aligned with our scope. For instance, with the release of Corda accounts, the possibility to have some kind of multi-tenants, and so on and so forth. And at the end, the Italian Banking Association adopted it as major technology for its own use cases. So for us, for the market we're facing, it's a no-brainer choice at present. Then I admit that in case the world really transition to open blockchain, and with that, I'm trying to say that in case the traditional financial worlds really transition to the world, and the regulators makes it more clear what happens when you put loans onto that kind of blockchain, so on and so forth, then actually it may be interesting, really consider to switch or to bridge maybe from Corda to this kind of open blockchain world. Okay, thank you, Mattia. Thank you for answering the questions. There's still one in the Q&A section. You can go later and answer it. And now we have, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the Q&A. And we have a 10-minute break. Let's meet at 4:45. Let's reconnect or stay connected. And we will have 3 more presentations starting for 4:45.
Hello and welcome back to the BlockStart startup speech. We now have Knowtary, IBISA, and ComeTogether, and I'm giving the word back to João so that he can lead the pitches and also the Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much, Vit. So for this second half of the event, I'll take over the Q&A. But so first, of course, let's start off with Knowtary with Tiago and Rui. So please, if you may share your screen and turn on the mic and camera. So I believe it should be okay. I'm just seeing Knowtary's presentation.
Yeah, I think Rui is going to be starting the presentation.
Can you see me and hear me?
Yeah, perfectly, Rui.
Great, great. My name is Rui Serapicos, and I'm with Tiago and with Livia. And together we are the founders of Knowtary. So Knowtary is as it said here, a digital document certification solution. The presentation is about how we started and how we developed this solution and where we're at, as well as what do we want from the audience, as well as investors, obviously. So our problem started when we were doing a pre-pandemic project transaction in Africa, and where we needed a bank guarantee. And not only the process was cumbersome, was slow to approve, it cost us money to do it, and it had a lot of intermediaries. So the actual international validation was hard to perform. And so we started working on a better way to do it. We started working on how can we notarize transactions for anyone that has an operation or a transaction to work with, and that can trust on, that does not trust on a third party, but that can trust on a network. And essentially, this is how we started. And obviously,
we stopped hearing you, Rui, I believe.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm muted, self-muted. So as I was saying, so we started looking for a wholesome solution that would focus on not just transparency and the ability to automate the certification or the notarization, but we have it in a fully digital solution. So that's how we've operated. And what happened was that we built a solution on 4 principles. So the first principle was this has to work anywhere and everywhere, and this has to be able to create and customize documents so that we can work with them in a very easy way to do it. And obviously what we're talking about here is we designed the solution independent of what technology was underlying it or what blockchain topology or blockchain network we were thinking about. So the other principle that we thought about was how can we sign on our smartphones or even a tablet? And when I mean sign in is not sign in, is actually to draw our signature and make this very seamless. So this was our focus. And obviously, how do we make it certified on a global network, on a global secure network, independent of the type of blockchain that we're talking about? And finally, how can we assure that our clients run a seamless KYC so that they don't waste a lot of cumbersome time and a lot of cumbersome activities building this KYC? So in a nutshell, these are the principles as well as the solution. So what you can see here is actually the product screenshots that go from the security access, the document creation, the workflow validation, the on-app signature, as I mentioned before. and obviously the final and finally the blockchain certification or the blockchain notarization for that specific transaction. But better than saying it is actually to show it. So Tiago.
Hi, are we going to be, oh, okay, so this is the, we don't have a sound on the video. So this is us showing one of the prototypes that we created for one of our customers. It's from Azure, it's an accounting firm in Portugal. So this is a customized app that we have developed for them. We also have another customer that we have a custom app, which is a PFC. So the first step that they go to customers, they can create a new customer or search for an existing customer. This is one of the customers. So next, they can include, this is a test customer that we were using, and then they could create a new notarization. This is a document from the Portuguese government. It's a company situational crisis. It's a document from the Portuguese government. You can type in a document number, so it can be like doc 03/2021. Then the notarization has been added, and then you can see that the document has been created. You click on it, and then it will show that notarization has been created. The next step is that they have to do is fill in the fields that they have. There are several fields that they have to fill in with some data. So I'm just putting some random information there so they can just type in all the information. It's a long form, so just to short the video, I just put some random data just to show how it works. So there's a lot more information. It's a long form. So after you finish, you complete all the form, then you could click and save, and then it has been saved. So all the fields have been filled. So then next you can send the link of this digital document to your customer. So you can copy it, you can send it via WhatsApp, via any kind of system that you want, your email, whatever. So the customer will receive that. He will look at, review the data that you have filled inside the form. And the next step he will do, he will sign the document. So he will sign the document. This is just a random signature. He will complete. And then the signature will be now part of the document. So just show for the matter of time, I'm just showing one that it has completed the notarization is another document. So now it's waiting for notarization, which is notarization on the blockchain. And then I'm just going to show you another document that has been already notarized. This one I created on the fly. Okay, next. Okay, so this is a new document that has been notarized. It also has been signed on the bottom. And then you can click on view notarization, and you will look at, it has generated a document ID. It has a document hash. It has an Ethereum transaction. And then you can look at it. This transaction has been done on the Ropstein test network, but it's just to prove the concept. So it has a hash. You can see all the data that has been provided. You can look at that the hash has been notarized with the ID of the contract and so on. And you can even download the JSON file, which has the contents that have been notarized. So this is the quick presentation of the prototype.
Thank you, Tiago. This was probably a little bit challenging for the audience because they were hearing two presentations, one live and one recorded. But as you can see that Tiago was following up on the presentation, as well as what you were seeing was actually a live client and a live forms that we're operating for a specific client. So the next question is, where do you stand? Where do you want to aim? And what's your market? And this is the size of the market. Obviously, we're seeing this much more of a digital signature market and what we would call a signature solution for professional services. And the reason for this, and this has to be even contextualized in the area of professional services that want a white label solution or an OEM solution. And why is this? Because typically professional services companies want to have full control of their process, as well as they want to operate with full autonomy. And this is something that we're really working hard to develop. So with that said, how do we differentiate ourselves from other players? Everyone knows DocuSign and other solutions. We're mostly focused on blockchain notarization, which puts us in a very specific, I don't want to say niche, but in a very specific segment. But there are obviously some players, as you can see here, some other players in the blockchain notarization. However, there are two vectors, the combination of these two vectors, which one is obviously the blockchain notarization, but as well as instead of reinventing the wheel for law firms, accountants, and notaries, what we do is we provide them with the capabilities so that they can do it themselves and that they can operate completely independent. And this actually is a completely differentiating factor. So how does it work from the perspective of providing revenues to our company? Basically, we're a business to business and or company, a consumer company. And the focus is to have a transparent application either through a specific URL for the client or even an API, so that the end user, the actual application user, does not see any of it, but only sees that this professional services company has actually a blockchain certification or a blockchain notarization solution. And this is aligned with what we've seen on the past deck slide. And this means that we can have fees that are notarization fees that work together with several and different entities, as mentioned, accounting firms, law firms, notaries, and so on. So what we're at right now is we're working with 2 SMEs, and we're working with on the technical requirements to define the development of these 3 SMEs. One is, as mentioned, an accounting firm, which you actually seen the demonstration and the operating solution. And the other one is a green certification company that is actually, again, a service provider, a professional service company that provides auditing services for green certification. And this provides value so that every step of their auditing service can be notarized, so that every aspect of of all the transactions on the auditing service can be monetized. And as well, we're refactoring the front end because, as you've seen, we have still some good way to go, and it's a good opportunity for improvement. With that said, here are the not just the deployed, but the technical scope defined companies mentioned before: Azure, the accounting firm, plastic-free certification, and TSO. Essentially, TSO is a short lending platform for auto media. In a nutshell, this company provides auto facilities or auto services so that media can vet the auto experience, and it needed the solution so that they could very quickly and with a massive turnover deliver a car and get it back in a very quick fashion. The other entities that we're validating the technical scope is eSwiss Solar, Volvera, and Global and Local, where Global and Local is mostly for EU subsidy forms, which automates the EU subsidy forms. Volvera is mostly focused on P2P lending, contract company, mostly focused on auto. And eSwiss Solar is focused on contracts for renewable energy. So these are our current traction. This is our current traction. In terms of roadmap, we're I don't want to call it a baby startup, but we started during the pandemic, and it has there's been some good challenges. Obviously, from October to December, there was a massive focus on developing the MVP and deploy the first custom app to Azure, as well as go back and forth on the business model definition and understand how much value can we provide and can we deliver to the first client. And then we entered into the additional apps and the additional customers and the additional clients and prospects. And then we'll have a specific go-to-market from August till the end of this year, providing new features as well as ongoing negotiation. That we have an ongoing negotiation for an OEM agreement with a startup that is operating in the real estate area. So the team is experienced not just in business, but as well as in legal services and legal advisory. The team has experience from many other areas as well as technology areas, which is quite interesting from a standpoint of how we operate and how we collaborate. And what are we looking for? We're looking for more paying customers, and we're looking for more partnerships where we develop this solution so that our let's call it client can deliver a seamless experience to their customers. I don't know if this leads to the Q&A session.
Yes, thank you very much, Rui. So I'll ask you straightforward answers to two questions that I actually have. So the first is if you can further comment on your ideal customer.
Well, the ideal customer, well, we have, first of all, we have two, let's call it two very good customers that are pushing us to automate the implementation, which is that is the typical customer that we like, so that we provide, as I said before, a seamless experience so that the user doesn't need to know technology. He just needs to solve a problem. He just needs to certify a document transaction independent of the blockchain or independent of topology or whatnot. So this is, for us, an ideal client is someone that understands deeply what is the pains of their customers, has a very well mapped out idea of the transaction as well as the document flow, so that we can immediately replicate it, automate it, and then integrate it with the blockchain.
Okay, so last question, and I'll ask for 1 minute answer. What is your main differentiating factor in relation to mega vendor subscriptions?
That's a great question. Mega vendor subscription solutions do not operate on, let's call it on transactions that need certification, very serious certification. So you never see something like a massive contract on a DocuSign, on any other kind of transactions. Why? Because this is mostly run for very basic transactions or just basic document transactions. And what we're operating here is working together with law firms, working together with notaries, so that they are the owners of that transaction, so that we play along with them instead of trying to capture their market.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Rui. And so I'll welcome anyone who may have any further question to place in the Q&A section, and mention that you are addressing Knowtary, and Rui and Tiago will be answering by writing. But now let's give the stage to IBISA and to Maria.
Thank you.
Welcome, Maria. Thank you, Rui.
Thank you.
Hello. Thanks a lot. Let me share my screen. You see it now?
Yeah, perfect.
Hello. So hello, everyone. My name is Maria, and I'm a co-founder of IBISA. And during BlockStart, we have developed Minorca. That is a tool for SMEs to have access to really actionable satellite data. So first, a bit more about IBISA. So we are an insurtech startup focused on agriculture, and we are developing the next generation of agriculture insurance for insurance players. So we are a B2B, and the main technologies that we are using is Earth observation, satellite data, machine learning, and blockchain. Through our experience in IBISA, we realized that we could leverage our knowledge and tools around Earth observation to bring real value to SMEs. And that's why we decided to start Minorca. And we put together part of the IBISA team into Minorca. So you have Antoine, that is the CTO, Conrad, that is Earth observation specialist, me, that I'm also coming from the satellite industry for 15 years, and Jean-Baptiste, that is an actuary, so he is coming more from the insurance. So the problem that we identify while working with in IBISA and while working with a lot of partners is that the value of satellite data in agriculture and in general is huge. But small companies, they don't have access to this type of data because there is a lot of barriers. There is a lot of knowledge that needs to be developed in order to know where to find the data, which data to use, how to analyze this data. So all that makes the data difficult to get, very expensive, and that you need to have a lot of particular knowledge. So at the end, it's only for the big players to take benefit of that. So we say, okay, we have in IBISA, that is a platform for agriculture insurance. And one of these components of the agriculture insurance is a module to do assessment of loss using satellite data. So we say, okay, we have this amazing component that is doing the assessment of loss for agriculture. Why not open it up, this part of the platform, to the wider public and build a Minorca tool that can trigger, that can use our loss assessment to bring actionable data for SMEs. So that was the origin of Minorca. So it's a platform for the small and medium companies to easily identify the type of satellite data that is usable for them, requested, and get really an actionable output based on that, but you will see a bit more on the use case. So we are democratizing the use of satellite data for SMEs. Now a bit more on architecture. So here you can see the IBISA platform that was existing before starting working in Minorca, and the blue part is what we have developed during the BlockStart. So Minorca is an Ethereum dApp that can trigger the IBISA Earth observation platform directly. So we develop a user interface and a database. We deploy using Infura, and we are developing in Ethereum. So the smart contract was Solidity, and then there is a trigger to the platform directly. But let me unshare now and put you a demo. So please let me know if the volume is working. If not, I will do a voiceover, but it should work.
As a Minorca user, I log into the application.
Yes.
And now, when connected, I will make a new request to evaluate the damage of a given location. So I click on the Ask for New Assessment button. And here I have to indicate the position of the field to be evaluated. So for example, I choose a field in Spain. I select my field. I can add a name, for example, Lemon Field, Spain. And finally, I can select the different months for which I want to get an assessment. Here, for example, I will just select December 2020. Here is a summary of my request. I can confirm, and the Minorca platform will automatically trigger the creation of an assessment campaign in the IBISA platform. So for the moment, my assessment is in progress. At this point, I have to wait until the campaign is finished in the IBISA Watcher application so that the result can be read in Minorca. On the blockchain part, the transaction was sent to the Minorca smart contract to track the user request. If I go to the smart contract on Etherscan, I can find the transaction with different information. This is my transaction. And if I go to the detail, here we can see it's a save request transaction with data coming from my Minorca request. Now the campaign is finished and the assessment is computed. So I can go to the Minorca application and check the value of the damage in the application. Here you can see an estimated damage of 3%. In the smart contract, we can see that the platform recorded a new transaction. This transaction just complete the assessment and store the damage value in the blockchain.
So that was the voice of Antoine, and I will share back the slides. Yeah. So with that, I will pass this because you already saw. But we had a really good work with two amazing SMEs that I think are here today. One is SmartRem in Spain, Felix. So SmartRem is an engineering company. They also do part of renewable energies, but they have a specialized part that is more on risk management and insurance claim handling. So we work more on the insurance claim and risk management with them. And BioDAC in the Netherlands, we have Jan with us, and it's a company focused on data analysis services to companies and institutions. Jan is coming also from IBM and from the weather data part. So we have worked in a very interesting project with them, and we have done a video where they have participated. So I really invite you to look at the video and see more of them. So with them, we did 2 pilots. In reality, with SmartRem, we have done a bit more, but we are just showing one of the examples. We did so SmartRem had an insurance claim where they are part of supporting this file that there was a fire damage assessment on a farm. So you see here, this was the picture that he sent. So we he input the coordinates in Minorca, and we saw the damage of the field, and we did an analysis of using Minorca of the damage the month after and the months thereafter to see if there was a recovery of vegetation, and also to assess the amount of vegetation that was lost. So with Minorca, we were, saving time and cost of that. Time and cost could have been saved because this was kind of a back test in this file and not going to the field and doing an in-person assessment in the middle of nowhere to assess the damage. And then this image and the damage result is also stored in blockchain for traceability and to keep the record. And the second is with BioDAC. So we have been working and focused on one crop, that is potato, and we have done an analysis on how to use Minorca to do potato yield forecasting. So we have been working with several fields in several GPS locations to see what are the results and what will be the next step in order to provide this for BioDAC. So in both cases, we have worked in files of customers of SmartRem and BioDAC. So it has been B2B2B. So what we have, the 4 KPIs that we had for this pilot phase was for SmartRem and BioDAC to provide some product improvement and recommendations. We have received a huge amount of good feedback. and that we are prioritizing and seeing how to incorporate for the next phases. But for example, one was today Minorca is custom, the period of time is monthly, so to have custom and things like that. We did more than 4 tests with them, and we have defined what will be the collaborations lines moving forward after the pilot phase with both of them. And we have expanded beyond SmartRem and BioDAC, and we had the first discussion with Smart Forest that I think is also an SME adopter in BlockStart, and Cornish Mutual, that is a mutual insurer in UK. And we continue working with a farm in Malaysia, because topical crops are very interesting to us. A bit more about where we are. So today with IBISA project, with IBISA company, we are in multiple markets, in India, in West Africa, Philippines are our main markets. But we also work with some food companies in crops, in specific crops. And thanks to BlockStart, now we have our first work done in Europe. So the next steps in our technical roadmap will be to make our solution more scalable and robust, in terms of to allow more requests, to call more requests to the watcher, to the loss assessment platform. Then to work towards open it to others, to build applications that can use this loss assessment. And finally, incorporate the recommendations of SmartRem and BioDAC to continue working with them and more of their customers. The business model is pay-per-use. So every time we make a call to the loss assessment platform, it counts as one request. And the next steps, of course, is continue working with SmartRem and BioDAC. We have a lot of things that we have identified and that we are already working, and continue working with Cornish and Smart Forest to define the first use cases. And what we are looking for is more early adopters, especially in agri-food. So we are interested in working in more different crops and more different regions to see in the use cases where the data that we are using is now adding value. If not, we will add new data sets. And the second thing that we are looking is new hires. So we are looking for colleagues to join the team. So if you are planning to join a blockchain and a space company, you should look at ibisa.network. And especially we are looking for full stack developers or agronomists that have some knowledge in programming. And with that, thanks a lot, and we'll look forward to the questions.
Great, thank you very much, Maria. So I have 2 questions. So the first is about the type of early adopters that you are looking for. So if you can further detail a bit.
So especially we are looking for in the agri-food. So anyone that is working in agriculture, everything that is related to different crops or risk management. So with Minorca, we can see, we can do forecast of crops. We can do assessment of situation of the fields. So at the end is to have a better understanding on what is happening in fields that can be in remote locations thanks to satellite data. So it's like a first step, step 1 in using and making or getting value out of satellite data.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And so now a question from the audience. Can you assess where the crop is, if it's bio or conventionally grown?
So, I mean, not without knowing things. So there is one part that is looking at the big picture. So for example, there is some satellite data like is measuring rain or measuring the vegetation index, so the amount of chlorophyll on the plants. But the other thing, for example, that we are doing more with Jan, for example, is when we know things off the ground. So we know some parameters on the ground, and then we see what are the satellite data sets and the combination of both that will bring additional insights to the outcome. So for example, if you have a bio, there will be some type of combination of data that will be a proof that there is no pesticide use or things like that. Or if the bio is growing more, or if the productivity in a bio field is higher than a productivity in a normal field. These are the things that we could check.
Okay, great, thanks. And so another question on how big is the market you are targeting?
So here is, I mean, IBISA market is one thing, and then we wanted to productize the loss assessment component because we think it can bring a lot of added value to small companies to bring this access. And the market of this satellite data used for agriculture applications is 400 million today, and it's doubling by 2029, sorry. So in 2029 will be an 800 million market. So the satellite data is a growing market, and that's why we want to help people to get the benefit from it.
Okay, great. And so one last question on what are, in your opinion, the key points for fruitful collaboration between SME adopters and a blockchain startup in early stages?
So what worked really well for us with SmartRem and with Viadag was to early enough look for a specific case. So try to find a specific use case and go for the easiest thing possible. So like do something easy, simple, I mean, more than easy, simple, that can have a quick outcome so that you see what is the value in the process. So what worked really well for us was, okay, let's start really small, really specific, and get an outcome, and let's learn from that, and let's go to the next step for that. So as I know, there is a lot of startups here also participating, and there was a question about lessons learned. Like one is you say, okay, it's like in every book, like you have to design on user needs, but this is always easier said than done. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to do something, and then with this mock-up or with this, then go to the user and then help them understanding what you are bringing to the market, because it might be something new. So how can you get feedback of something that they don't know it can exist? And we keep everything simple and efficient and release fast.
Yeah, great. So really perfect last message to leave, and completely resonates with the spirit of BlockStart, this iterative spirit. So thank you very much, Maria. You still have one question to address, but you may do it by writing. And so thank you, thanks a lot, and let's welcome to the stage the last but definitely not least startup, ComeTogether, Stathis and Lazarus.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you very much. I know we are the last ones, and we are gonna try to keep it in time and not extend it. So I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna be presenting together with Lazarus. I'm gonna go through the agenda. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the first part is gonna be the pitch deck, including the problem that we're trying to solve, the technology, the benefits, etc. Lazarus is gonna be doing this part, and then we're gonna be having a ticketing solution demo. So basically reflecting what Lazarus described in a more visual way. The third part is going to be the top achievements, how I like to call them, is basically demos with the SMEs that we collaborated with. And at the end, we're going to be having a look in the future plan. So let's begin. Lazarus?
Okay, so I'm Lazarus, CEO of ComeTogether. We give control of the entire ticket lifecycle to event organizers with the power of blockchain. Let me tell you about a big problem in the events industry at the moment. It is being cannibalized by ticket scalpers and fraud. They use ticket bots to buy tickets the moment they go on sale, only to resell them later at much higher prices, ultimately leading to lost revenue for organizers. And even worse, some fans are denied access to events because they were sold fake or already scanned tickets. The root of these problems is the form of tickets today, which is a static QR code. ComeTogether introduces a new form of digital ticket. Firstly, it's based on blockchain, and on the other hand, we developed innovative ticket delivery through a dynamic QR code that changes every 30 seconds. This gives control and tracking of ticket resales to event organizers. The benefits are: organizers provide better fan experience as ticket fraud and scalping are prevented. They access secondary market revenues. They get better audience insights, knowing who the attendee is, even if the ticket changes hands. And they can use that for targeted marketing, COVID-19 tracing, and compliance with regulations. Since 2019, our tickets are NFTs, which some of you probably are hearing a lot about recently. In the context of live events, they can provide a massive new revenue stream, as tickets can be resold even after the event as digital collectibles, and especially bundled with memories from the event. This adds extra incentives for fans to go to an event to redeem those NFTs, and also can be used with an element of gamification, and also geographically expands the live events addressable market worldwide. So this is our product. We are technology providers for event organizers and ticketing companies to sell tickets under their own branding. It has 3 layers: a NEOS.io ticketing network, a cloud API, and white label ticketing tools. The tools provide an end-to-end plug-and-play ticketing solution that includes a primary and secondary ticket marketplace, a ticket wallet, and an organizer's dashboard. So event tickets worldwide was 73 billion in 2019, with an additional 15 billion from secondary resales, which is currently an untapped market for event organizers. But as Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And unfortunately, that's what COVID was for most, especially those of us in the live events industry. However, we developed BlockTogether, a COVID-19 certificate providing COVID-19 test, antibody test, and vaccination status using our blockchain technology as foundation. BlockTogether has Android and iOS apps, interoperability with other health certificates in compliance with the new EU Digital Green Certificate regulation, and won 3 hackathons, including the official Greek government one. So what this means for event organizers is that they can validate the COVID-19 status of fans upon entrance, enabling safe restart of live events. Our business model is licensing, and we will also monetize the blockchain network by issuing its own native token, which will allow for it to be used in a decentralized fashion. As you can see, ComeTogether combines a unique set of benefits previously mentioned, while most of our competitors are also missing the power of open ecosystems built on public blockchains, which ComeTogether utilizes. And we think that public blockchains are better suited to serve this particular use case. So ComeTogether launched in October 2019, providing ticketing to 14 live events during the first 5 months. Customers include the most popular hip-hop label in Greece. And thanks to BlockStart, we are doing a pilot and having a contract with with Tickets for Good, a UK ticketing company. And our second SME adopter is for BlockTogether, and it's a Greek healthcare company, Emergency Health. We are in incubation with a global leader in music intellectual property software and have business development partnerships. We are presenting at the biggest industry events and are leading an events restart initiative in Greece with the largest music event organizers. Now we are in the ideal position to penetrate the sports industry through our acceleration in Qatar sports tech to support major international sports events in Qatar, such as the World Cup. We are a team with deep blockchain software, business, marketing, and events industry expertise. And as live event enthusiasts, we had frustrating experiences with ticket scalping. So we take this problem personally.
Okay, so from now on, I'm going to take over, and we're going to be moving into the demos. So in the first demo, we're going to be having a look on ComeTogether's primary and secondary ticket market functionality. So basically buying a ticket and then setting that ticket for resale. This is how the mobile application looks like. The user has the option to choose one of multiple events. Once they click on one event, they can see information about the event. And when they click on buy tickets, they see the cheapest available tickets from each category, be it from a reseller or the event organizer. As all tickets are official, the ticket buyer is mainly interested in finding the best prices. And that's what we provide over here. Is it possible maybe to mute? I don't know if somebody's not muted. Thank you. And the user needs to select the number of tickets that they would like to purchase. Then they need to insert their credit card information. And once the payment is successful, they get a notification status about the ticket purchase status. So on the My Tickets page, they can resell the tickets only if the event organizer allows so. They need to confirm that they would like to resell the tickets. And also we have some explanatory panels before the process takes place. The user needs to select the type of tickets they would like to resell, the number of tickets for resale, and apparently the price that they should be resold. However, we need to pay attention that we need to make sure the resale price is not exceeding the price limits that the event organizer has initially set. So we need to modify that. And once we're fine with that, we can have a look on the overview of the net amount the ticket holder will get and the commission the event organizer has requested from this resale. If we are fine, we can proceed. And once the tickets are sold, the ticket holder will be credited the net resale amount and the event organizer will receive the commission they requested. So this is the demo of what Lazarus described. Now, more specifically, we're going to be having a look on the top achievements. So in product related achievements, we released during the pilot stage the ticket scanner app, the tickets for good web app and ticket wallet app, the emergency help health certificate mobile app. So basically we released both of our ticketing and health certificate application under the SMEs branding. We're going to have a look on 3 demos. The first one is going to be the tickets for good web app, the second one tickets for good wallet app, and the third one emergency help mobile app. Beginning with tickets for good web app, the users can apparently log in and they can select the event. You can see that we have made customizations according to the branding of tickets for good. And the user, once they click the number of tickets they would like to purchase, they insert the payment information. We have provided in the backend payment of tickets for good credentials. Once the payment is successful, the user is apparently able to see on the My Ticket section the available tickets that they just purchased. Now, by clicking on the View Tickets, they are going to be redirected on the mobile app, which is the next demo. So over here, the user has to log in on the mobile wallet app. They can see the tickets, and the tickets are represented by a dynamic QR code. As you can see, that is changing every few seconds. Now we move on into the emergency help mobile application, which is actually the health certificate application that we released under their own branding. So the health center is logging in order to issue a test for one of their customers. They're going to issue a COVID-19 test. And once the test is issued, the user is going to get a notification. They can log in and they find this health certificate in a QR code format, which they can display anywhere they want to validate their health status using our scanning functionality, as you can see from the app. We are finished with the demo, and now the final section is the future plan. So we continue to we are continuing our collaboration after the pilot stage with both Tickets for Good and emergency help through a white label contract basis. We are already being active in the business development in Europe and MENA region as technology providers for ticketing companies and sports clubs, as well as white label providers for music events. And Lazare?
Yeah, so fundraising so far is 500,000 euros, and we are looking for an additional 500 to grow the team, provide 20 months of runway, and lead to profitability. So let's ensure the best fun experience together, and I invite you to have a further conversation. Thank you.
We are open for questions now.
Great, thank you very much, Stathis and Lazarus. Great way of ending our event. So the first question from Alexander is about if you accept credit card payments only, or if you also process blockchain-based payments.
For now, we just accept credit card payments, but definitely we will at some point support blockchain-based payments, especially once they gain more mainstream adoption.
Okay.
It will also save us some payment fees, probably. Yeah.
Sure. So then another question. Can you explain how NFTs expand the addressable market and unlock extra revenue for event organizers?
Sure, that's a great question. So NFTs, what they do is, because a live event has a geographically limited addressable market. People can travel for an event, but they rarely do that, and they don't travel that far usually. So with the NFT, what can happen is, because the ticket is not only sold for access to the venue, but it's sold as a collectible, that can be sold anywhere in the world. And by adding memories from the event bundled with a ticket, memories in the form of video or AR, like the NBA Top Shots does, that dunk from LeBron James was sold for $200,000, let's say. So this kind of memory, like a hat trick in a World Cup or something like that, this can be bundled with the ticket and only be redeemable from people that went to the event. So gives extra incentive for fans to go to an event, and especially imagine by adding this with the gamification element. So the fans in the beginning of the game should need to guess which one will score the goal, and only the ones that guess right get the NFT, and then they can resell it and get the earn the money that it costed to them to go to the event, and even more maybe. So it's a way of betting. It's fun, extra fun engagement, and of course it's completely extra revenue because so far the event organizers just sell a ticket and their only revenue is during the event. So, but now we create a royalty for them from this event that can be resold for many years to come as a collectible, and each time it's resold, the organizer can get a commission from that. So it's they're creating essentially royalties out of a live event.
Makes sense. Okay, thank you, Lazarus. So one further question: can you summarize how your solution enabled the safe restart of events?
Okay, thanks for this as well. So our solution enables safe restart of events by enabling two things. First of all, health access control, COVID specifically access control. So along with the ticket, we validate the COVID status of the fan through the health certificate app, which is also compliant with the digital green certificate regulation. And on the other hand, the second thing that our technology enables is COVID tracing within the event. So if in any case somebody from the event gets COVID, they can notify our system, and people that were sitting next to him, they can get notified, and that's that is enabled because we track always the owner of the ticket, even if the ticket exchanges hands, which is not enabled from other solutions. So we always know who the person that actually came to the event is, and not just who bought the initial ticket.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think there are no further questions, but of course, all startups may be reached by all participants at this event just by replying to the follow-up email that we will send in the coming days. So thank you very much, Stathis and Lazarus.
Thank you.
So
Many thanks for
welcome
for BlockStart and for everything.
It was a pleasure to support you and fellow great projects. So to wrap up the event and to avoid taking too much time from you, just to mention that it was great and an actual privilege to support such promising projects, and that we fully believe that in the coming months and years you guys will have great successful path to pursue. So from ComeTogether, ticketing solution with health passport, IBISA, platform for agriculture, Knowtary, digital document certification, LoanXchain, secondary loan marketplace, Motoblockchain, digital identity for motorcycles. So pretty broad applications and diverse applications of blockchain technology, ranging multiple sectors, and also with actual results in a quite short amount of time. In 6 months, you've managed to further develop your MVP and be in position to, in 2 months only, to implement pilots in up to 5 companies. So it was quite impressive. And so to end this event, I'll just like to say that next week, please expect from us a follow-up email with a video recording of this event, if you'd like to share with any other person that would be interested to explore further blockchain and the actual B2B concrete implementations of this technology, and not only speculation around this great technological paradigm. Also a blog post with the main takeaways, the startups profiles, and so I would emphasize this. So all startups that presented today, and also the other that we've been supporting, have a full description of their profiles, their developments in our website. The videos about the startups pilot implementation, so 2 to 3 minute videos that pretty much summarize the great achievements of our startups within our program. A call for meetings with the startups. So if you'd like to get in touch with any of these 5 startup finalists, we'll be super happy to get you in touch with them, and also feedback survey about this event. So what's next? And this is something a bit connected with some questions that were placed today in the Q&A area. So the second open call and acceleration program is finalized today, and so in July we'll start the last acceleration program. Unfortunately, there is no more open calls for blockchain startups, but we are still able to onboard SME adopters to our program. So the 24 up to 24 selected startups will pitch and meet SMEs on 27, 28 of July. We'll announce which startups are these in the coming 2 weeks. And after this event, right at the end of this event, we'll select the top 10 that will move to the prototype stage to further develop their MVP. And finally, from December to February, 5 startups, at least 5 startups will implement their pilots in SMEs and will pitch in the final demo day event by the end of February. And I already invite you all to participate in such event by February next year, hopefully in a hybrid situation, so both physical event and streamed online. So this is where SME adopters may still be involved in BlockStart. So if you are an SME eager to implement and test blockchain solutions, you may still do that from December to February. And for that, so these are the pretty much last opportunities to get involved in BlockStart, only for SME adopters. The first cutoff until the 6th of July, next week, Tuesday. So the companies that apply will be eligible to be selected for the ideation kickoff event, so the pitch event by the end of July. It's basically a matchmaking event for you to get in touch with blockchain startups. And then a second cutoff and the actual deadline for this open call on the 10th of November. So all companies applying until the 10th of November this year will be eligible to be connected with the startups, blockchain startups that we will select by the end of July. In this open call, we ask you to fill in a quick survey, also what we call the "Do you need blockchain" tool. This is actually a quite interesting tool that even if you are not considering to apply to our open call, it may be worth trying because it can quickly, in like 10 minutes, give you an impression if blockchain is relevant for your company or not. So you should definitely try it out if you are curious. And apart from these last opportunities, I would of course like to thank a lot to our two great keynote speakers from LeadBlock Partners VC investor, Carla, Puel, and David Chreng. Also thank not only the 5 startups, finalist startups that were presenting today, but all the 20 DLT startups that we've been supporting since November last year. So this second acceleration program startups, of course, the 16 SME adopters that managed to help out our startups by giving them valuable feedback and actual results for them to consider both in the product and business development. And hopefully some of these companies end up being clients of our startup finalists in the months to come. And lastly, thank the BlockStart consortium, so Bright Pixel, Civita, F-Success, the companies that are putting this initiative in place. So it has been a pleasure to work with Civita and F-Success in these past 2 years, and look forward for the last year of our project. So that's all. I hope you've enjoyed the event. If so, please share with whoever you believe could be interested in this session. And so wish you a great rest of the week and a great summer ahead of us. Thank you.